even when you're working collaboratively with the client, doesn't mean that you're not going to have some conflicts. So in this video, let's talk about how to handle these. The first thing that I want you to know is that tension and conflicts on their own are not such a bad thing, okay? Because good clients hire smart people to disagree with them. And remember, if they just wanted to have somebody just execute for them and do what they say, they could hire very cheap people. We talked about this in the relationship type. So if they hired you to collaborate with you, that also means that they're expecting to hear no from you sometimes. Okay, smart people are not only looking for a yes man. Okay, so they do want you to sometimes disagree with them, and this will create tension. But as we talked about when we talked about negotiation, if you know how to handle the tension, if you know to stay with it when it's necessary, it's actually going to be beneficial for both you and the clients. So let's talk about what to do when these conflicts arise. The first thing is you're not always going to be able to convince them to your own solution. But if you hold a belief that something shouldn't be done and they're persisting, what I would say is look, it's my responsibility as a professional to tell you that I don't recommend this solution. And again, this is if I think that from a professional standpoint, they're telling me to do something that's incorrect. Let's say they're telling me to do something is obviously a bad, user experience principle, and they're telling me, no, we want to use this color on top of this color. I'm telling them, look, it's going to be a problem. People are not going to be able to see it. It's not accessible. No, this is what we want. So at the end of the day, I'll tell them, look, it's my responsibility to tell you that this is not a good solution. However, if this is where, you want to go, then all right. At the end of the day, you're the client. This is your own project. And you have to remember to pick your battles. So you're not going to be able to win on every argument. Doesn't mean that you should immediately give up and do everything that they want. You should stay with it. Even if there's a conflict, you should try to convince them. You should, and sometimes these things, they get emotional, because if you truly believe that this is the right thing and they don't want to do this, people get emotional. That's where tension arises. So sometimes stay with it if you think this is very, very important. When it doesn't work, you can say, okay, I told you this is my responsibility. It doesn't work. But make sure that you pick your battles, because throughout a project, specifically if it's a big, complicated project, you're going to have a lot of disagreement. If you're going to get into a tension about all of them, it might be really exhaustive for both you and your clients. So make sure that you really fight on the things that really, really matter, and on the things that are not really crucial, you can just, give up and progress. There's no project in the history of, design freelancing that was completely 100% like the designer envisioned it. So there's always things that need to give. Now, that being said, you have to have some kind of a red line for things that you won't do. For me, basically, that is where, if they're asking me to do something illegal or immoral, I'm not going to do that, okay? And immoral, I mean, lying, stealing, that kind of stuff, I'm not going to do them. If they want to do it on their own, I'm always telling them, for example, you have to pay for fonts. You have to put whatever, a cookie solution to be compliant. I have to tell them the work. If they choose to do something illegal, it's on them, but I wouldn't be doing something illegal for them, okay? And there's also kind of a red line in terms of how they react to me or how they handle me. I won't have clients mistreating me in terms of how they speak to me. There are clients that are talking badly, cursing or belittling people. I won't have that. And so if I see their relationship is going that way, I'm telling them, look, I am not going to be working with somebody who's treating me this way. So you can either, change this, or, we can break off this relationship. But that's basically kind of the red line for what I would do and what I would be expecting from them. And if any of these red lines are crossed, it's totally okay to separate and basically fire your clients. Okay, if something doesn't work out, and there's all kinds of situation where it would be okay. So crossing the red line might be one of them, but also if if they're insisting on things that were not in the scope, or if they're asking for, or if they don't like anything that you do. So it's okay to say at some point, look, it looks like this is not a good fit, we're not aligned, so we're going to break off this engagement. If you're the one breaking off the engagement, though, make sure you take responsibility, and perhaps, I don't know, either refund some of the money based on how you wrote this in the contract, but know that it's okay and it's a possibility for you to say, to be super honest. It didn't happen often to me, and it shouldn't happen often to you if you do your qualification and notice the red flags before they actually become your clients. But not every relationship should work, and it's okay to use this tool of breaking up the relationship when something like this happens. Okay, and your proposal or contract or payment milestones or prepayment are the things that help you to kind of de-risk the risk of something going wrong. When people know that they are bound by a contract, or that they already paid the money, a lot of time this would kind of force them to better behave, because they're already invested and they don't want to lose that. So that's why proposals and contracts are so important. It decreases the risk of something going wrong. But if something like this happens, I suggest you cut your losses and move on. And when I say cut your losses, is you're most likely not going to sue them now or something like this. So if something really happened, if you didn't get paid, it's better to just say, I'm moving forward and going to the next project, than wasting a lot of time, energy on trying to run after them and make them pay after a relationship went sour, because it's not very likely that this will pay off, and the loss of energy on your time is probably more expensive. So if something happened, if this wasn't a good fit, and you had to fire them, or the project broke down, cut your losses and move on. These things happen. I mean, it's always painful when they happen, but cut your losses and move on.